This video is a book review, and I'm going to review this book, The Warren Buffett Way, which is a stock market investing book. When the economy is in a standstill like it is today, and when the stock markets are at the rock bottom, you just need that extra dose of energy, and you need to have something to look forward to. And this book gives you that. It gives you the knowledge of an approach which would give you the confidence that you can kind of make money in any environment and not really worry about the stock prices that are out there. That's the real value of this book. This book can be enjoyed by people who are investing in the stock market, particularly for the long term, as well as folks who are running businesses. In fact, the central message of the book is that investing in the stock market need not be any different from running a business. In fact, the mindset and the approaches used by people who are investing in the stock market should be very similar to those that are used by people who are running a business. The author of this book is Robert Hackstrom, who is an investor too, and he has been following Warren Buffett for quite a long time. And he's read literature about him, he's followed his interviews, and he's kind of poured through all the annual reports of Berkshire Hathaway. That gives a lot of credibility and authenticity to this book. With that said, let's get into the overall content review. I really like the flow of this book. This book is nicely organized from chapters that are easy to read to chapters which have an increasing order of difficulty. This is one book where you do not want to skip the foreword or the prefaces. There are 4 different forewords written by the who's who in the investing space. But there are 2 forewords that I would particularly recommend. There is one written by Howard Marks, and that's a very nice summary of the personality of Warren Buffett and the kind of approaches he uses in investing. And that kind of gives you an idea of what is to be expected in the rest of the book. So that's a must read. I would additionally recommend a foreword that's been written by Ken Fisher, who is the son of one of the 2 people who greatly influenced Warren Buffett's investing style. And he brings up a nice point, which is good to keep in mind as you read through the book, which is don't try to imitate Warren Buffett. Learn the principles in this book and try to form your own approach and philosophy towards investing. And that's a great advice to keep in mind. The book starts by explaining the events in Warren Buffett's life which made him an investor, a kind of a timeline of events. That's chapter 1. And then it nicely moves into the investment philosophy of Warren Buffett, how he was influenced by 2 towering personalities in the world of finance. One is Ben Graham, who's the pioneer of value investing, and then Phil Fisher, who is the pioneer of growth investing, and how Warren Buffett kind of artfully brought these approaches together and formed his own approach, which made him the successful investor that he is. It also nicely sets up the stage for understanding the 12 principles, which is the essence of the book that is explained in chapter 3. And if there is one chapter you should read if you kind of read this book, is chapter 3. And that's the most practical and useful chapter. But chapter 2 kind of sets up chapter 3, so you might not want to skip that as well. Chapter 3 has these 12 tenets organized in 4 different categories: business tenets, management tenets, financial tenets, and market tenets. And easy to read, easy to understand, difficult to implement. Then chapter 3 is followed up with chapter 4, which walks you through 9 different investments that Warren Buffett made. 9 of his top investments, we could say. And the good thing about these case studies is in each case, you're trying to compare how Warren Buffett made that particular investment to the 12 tenets. And this gives you an opportunity to kind of deeply understand these 12 tenets and imbibe that so that you can get inspired. So that's a great read, but it gets a little technical, slightly mathematical, especially in the valuation part. That might be slightly hard to follow, but I would still suggest that you give it a good shot. That is followed by a couple of chapters on the mathematics of investing and the psychology of investing. That's something, is very good. It is these chapters that makes this book self-contained, but if you decide to skip it, no problem. Go ahead and skip that. If you watched this video so far, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Then there is this last chapter, which is the fanboy chapter, where Robert Hackstrom kind of raves about the qualities of Warren Buffett and shows us why he is the greatest investor that he is, and backs it up with data as well. So that's the content summary. What are the pros of this book? I think it's a very practically useful book for investors, long-term investors. And it also shows you why the other investment approaches, such as the active investment strategies used in mutual funds or diversification, do not really work. It spares index investing, but the rest of it is kind of thrown into the trash bin. So that's the utility of this book. You kind of get to understand why the focused investing approach is probably the best investing approach. By the way, focused investing is the approach that is outlined in this book, the Warren Buffett approach. Cons of the book, not many cons really, but I kind of felt the mathematical treatment could have been better. Other than that, some psychology related concepts are not clearly explained, but that doesn't take away anything from the value of the book. Some special tips, I would suggest that you buy the hardcover version of this book, because this is a book that you would want to refer time and time again, so paperback is not recommended. Also, I would suggest that you not just read this book, but work with it, especially if you've already invested in the stock market. Then you might want to think about your experiences, your good investments, bad investments, and compare it with the advice given in this book, which will make this book more useful. And if I were to rate this book on a scale of 10, I would give it an 8, primarily because this book has a lot of utility, practical value for stock market investors and people who run businesses. This is Hendel with The Game of Money. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel if you'd like more videos like this.